Howdy, people of the internet. Today, I'm going to discuss why I stopped watching CBS's new show, Supergirl. But before I get into the reason why I stopped watching Supergirl, I would like to let you guys know that I'm a big fan of Greg Berlanti and Andrew Kreisberg's other shows on the CW. I love Arrow and The Flash. With these two shows, Berlanti and Kreisberg are able to convey a believable and surprising comic book universe. They are able to portray these characters not only as super titans, which they are, but as relatable and interesting characters that the audience roots for. Before I start ranting about my love affair with DC television universe, I better get back to discussing Supergirl. The points I just brought up about Arrow and The Flash are actually relevant, and a reason why I dislike Supergirl. I have to admit, coming into this show, I had a lot of expectations. I knew that the producers were capable of creating great television shows concerning comic books. How could you go wrong with a show about Supergirl? Immediately, while I was watching the first episode of the series, I was bothered by the predictable and unrealistic story and static characters. Now, I'm not blaming the actors. On the contrary, I'm blaming the writers and producers of the show. They all had the ability to create a truly amazing show, utilizing great effects and genuine good storytelling. Instead, I feel that the producers took the easy way out. They basically used the same plot devices and storytelling techniques they used in both Arrow and The Flash. There's nothing wrong with using the good aspects from previous shows, but they didn't add anything new to the show. I feel that Berlanti and Kreisberg had a responsibility to the audience to truly create one of the best superhero shows TV had ever seen with Supergirl. In this new age of superhero TVs and movies, Supergirl could have been a female role model and a genre-defining moment. If this show was done well, Supergirl could have presented a female superhero in an empowering light where girls didn't need men to achieve success and can hold their own ground. Yes, this show actively tried to portray this. In fact, this show tried to achieve this story so much that it became unwatchable. I knew at every battle she had to prove herself. She had to overcome everyone's doubts, and I mean everyone's. Instead of trying to write the show in a tasteful manner and subtly including this agenda in the show, the writers and producers forced it down the audience's throat. With the inclusion of Kara's boss, Kat, the show was blatantly displaying their agenda and progressing the show in my opinion, a lazy manner. Instead of literally saying that Supergirl had to prove herself almost every battle, I would have appreciated some character development where you could have seen this plot develop over time. Even if the writers could put an original spin to this plot device, I would have been happier. Before I start ranting about this topic for the whole video, I better move on to my second reason. The second reason I disliked the show for me was simply because Supergirl existed in a world inhabited by Superman. By including Superman, I feel that the show has trapped itself into a box. Supergirl is not allowed to actually show Superman or even let him talk. So why include him? Why couldn't CBS let Supergirl interact with the established DC television universe? This, I felt, was my biggest reason for leaving the show. Since the show was created by the producers of The Flash and Arrow, one would have to assume that they could incorporate Supergirl into this amazing universe and expand upon it. By doing this, the creators could have approached the show differently and, in my opinion, better. When Arrow introduced The Flash to its TV audiences, it built up the hype for the show and helped establish it in the universe. When The Flash premiered, audiences were familiar with him, and by creating this familiarity, the show was able to avoid some of the basic plot building. By incorporating The Flash into the universe, Barry had a role model and somebody he could depend upon in a crisis situation. This idea of codependency and cooperation shows itself every year with the annual and awesome crossover event. The only hero Supergirl could reference is the faceless hero, Superman. By leaving Flash and Arrow out of the show's universe, the show has already built in an issue. Alright people, before this video gets too long, I'm gonna cut myself short. I hope you all enjoyed this video and learned a little something about why some people stop watching Supergirl. If anyone in the audience has a different opinion about the show, please leave a comment. I'll be glad to respond. As always, if you like this video and you want to see more, please subscribe.